Game of Thrones is one of those things that people tend to get internet crazy about. That's one of the reasons I avoided talking about it so far. But the time has come, and there is a winter is coming joke I could do there, but I won't because of dignity. Welcome to Binge Watchers, where we talk about the stories and characters we love and the shows they live in. My name is Ron, and let's talk about Season 5 of Game of Thrones. So the problem I see with most YouTube videos about Game of Thrones is because it's such an event-driven show, the video basically becomes a recap, like this happened, then this happened, then this happened. And that's awesome, but we watched it, we know what happened. So I'm gonna try not to do that, and I really didn't plan this one out, so I'm assuming that you've already watched Season 5, so this is your possible spoiler alert. So Game of Thrones is obviously an impressive show, just the scale of it, how good it looks, and how each scene is beautifully crafted. I can't say it's one of my favorite shows. It's not. It's more of a thing to talk about at work the day after an episode airs. I haven't read the books, so I'm just talking about the show here. My, let's say, problem with Game of Thrones is that I feel that the show is mainly trying to give me something to talk about and catch me off guard and shock me rather than tell me a story. I'm not saying that the story isn't there, it's there and it's awesome. But what is usually a good episode of Game of Thrones, or at least the episode you talk about with everyone? It's an episode where an important character died, or was raped, or a child was burned alive, or Oberyn got his head smashed in by the mountain. The show is driven by events, and mainly ones that go for shock value, which is a lot of fun. I love that head smashing scene in Season 4 just as much as you probably did, but it just doesn't give me what I need and makes everything in between these events kind of stale, maybe? And by Season 5, I'm expecting them to basically kill everyone because that's the thing that happens on Game of Thrones. So if you can bring yourself to be really into it, that's amazing, and it's such a full experience whenever something crazy happens and in between. But personally, I'm just not there. I was there with Sons of Anarchy, for example, another show with a large cast where everyone is constantly in danger. I felt the deaths in that show served the story rather than went for my reaction that, oh my god, I can't believe they did that, which actually made my reaction more powerful. But anyway, that's just my side of the discussion, and I'm sure many of you have a completely different view of Game of Thrones, or Sons of Anarchy for that matter. Specifically about Season 5, I think my favorite story arc was probably Jon's, because I loved seeing him grow into being the Lord Commander. I loved the journey that his character has made, and I felt that his relationship with Sam was such a huge deal for him, and that if Sam wasn't there, he would sort of collapse, you know? The growth of a character and powerful relationships are two of my favorite things in shows, so this story was a pretty good fit for me. My least favorite arc in this season was Arya's, and that's unfortunate because her story was my favorite in Season 4. In Season 5, I felt it was a lot slower than it had to be, and it really wasn't as meaningful as Arya's story in any of the other seasons. My favorite Arya moment in the entire series was in Season 3, Episode 7. I remember that episode specifically because the first video on this channel is actually a recap / review of that episode. I haven't done an episode specific video since then because I'm really not a big fan of those. Anyway, in that episode, there's a scene with the guy who dies and then gets revived, and he asks Arya, "What god do you worship?" And she answers, "Death." And that moment was amazing to me because with one word, it signified the entire transformation that her character has made. And that just blew my mind. And I just didn't feel that I got something like that out of Season 5. I was never a big fan of the Daenerys arc, but in this season, she, or the story around her, was actually more interesting to me. Especially the part with Jorah, with how he just wanted to fight for her or do anything for her, even if it means being a slave. And how he was conflicted by the fact that he knew that she didn't actually want any of this, the whole deal with the fighting pits, but it was the only way for him to honor her or do something for her. I felt that that whole thing was pretty powerful. I can continue going down the line of characters and story arcs, but again, you've seen it, so you don't need me just telling you what happened. All in all, I had fun with this season. Game of Thrones is always an experience that is worth it for different reasons for different people. I had a hard time being moved by the things that happen or make an emotional connection with the characters because by now I know what to expect and they deliver on that. Game of Thrones is by all accounts worth seeing. You don't have to love it to be impressed by it. But it is one of those things that, as we said, people tend to get a little internet crazy about. So I encourage you to participate in this discussion, but you know, be fine with opinions. Actually, you guys drive amazing discussions on all of the other videos, so I'm not that worried. What I want to know is, what was your favorite story arc and your favorite character, and most importantly, why? One more thing before we wrap up, I love talking with you guys, and there are so many questions that I want to ask you, and the easiest way for me to do that is on Twitter, so I would love for you to find me there and we could continue the conversation. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, it really helps out a lot, and if you're finding binge watchers for the first time, welcome. I'd like to invite you to join the binge watchers community. We talk about TV every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with opinions and reviews and discussions and all kinds of great stuff, all for you fellow binge watchers and TV lovers. So you can go ahead and click that big subscribe button to join in on the fun, or you can check out any of the other videos on the channel. In any case, keep binging, and I will see you next time.